I've just pressed it. Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams, joined by Callum Brannan, and this is the Merseyside Derby preview live stream. Apologies for the slight delay. I was having some quite bad technical issues, but we're over that now. And yeah, Cal, how are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, confidence rating?
2, and that's being generous. Do you know what? I was 3 or 4 because you know what? I'm never confident going into the derby. And then I'm not trying to already scapegoat the poor fella, and then I saw Rondon on the team sheet and was like, yep, game over. We're not scoring tonight.
Yeah, I've just looked at the team sheet then, and obviously Rondon starting is one. Richarlison being back in the side is massive for us. A little bit surprised about Anthony Gordon not getting any game time. I thought he'd have kept Gordon in. I know it's quite a cliche, but, local lad and all that. Do you think it's just trust in the old boys, or?
I don't know, because our problem with the old boys is none of them have got passion. And then we go, do you know what? Well, let's just bench the most passionate player in the starting 11 besides Pickford. The lads, Everton through and through, our academy. Why would he not want to have his big breakout game? Like, obviously, Gordon's a starter to us and we see his talent. But this would be his perfect opportunity to put his name out there for everyone in the derby. And then Rafa instead decides to start Rondon. And listen, Stevens just put here Rondon, 1-0 in the 90+5. If that happens, then I don't know. I think my mind would break. I genuinely think all systems would malfunction. But do you know what? For all the stick we've given Rondon, it would just be today he scores, wouldn't it?
God, mate, Goodison will just implode. It'll implode. The fume, the passion, the celebration, they won't know what to do. It'll just implode there.
If he scores and wins us, if the goal he scores wins the game, I will buy an Everton shirt with Rondon on the back. I'm being serious.
I mean, I personally can't see him score. Although I do think his game at Brentford was the best game I've seen him play in an Everton top, which I'm not saying it was the best game I've seen. That's just the best game I've
still
seen.
Crap though, wasn't it?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Both
he deserves to be there, but
both his shots on target were like, to get into the positions were good, but then he just p-rolled it at the keeper twice, basically. Like, aim for the
one. The one on his left was a really nice touch to take it off round the defender. But then, like you said, there was just no viciousness.
He did all the hard work and then messed up the easy part.
It's grim. Well, I mean, 2s are quite. I'll ask you what your score prediction is as well while we're on it.
3-0 Liverpool.
It's nicer than me. I said 4.
Yeah, I think the boys will show some passion, but I just don't know if passion's enough, and I can't see us scoring with Rondon up front, and I'm going to keep saying I can't see him scoring to jinx him into scoring, but I just can't. I could see maybe Richarlison nicking one or something, but I don't, because in the end, if we lose 2-0, but this Everton team shows some fight and some passion that we haven't really seen this season, then I can move on from it. You know what I mean? Liverpool have smashed much better teams than us. So if we can keep the score down and actually look like we can get into the game, then fine, we've had a good performance. But if we get played off the park like I expect, then I think that's it for Rafa, even if I don't personally agree with it.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say is I think Jurgen Klopp has already all but admitted the game plan that a team should be going with. He said that he doesn't like the passion for the Merseyside Derby.
He's trying to get the refs on his side.
He's trying to get the refs on his side. Yeah, which is what Simon Jordan on TalkSport was saying. They don't need it, but I would go with the because he doesn't like playing Burnley. I imagine Jurgen Klopp. He's not a big fan of physical football, which.
It is weird considering the style of football that he's come from, the gegenpressing football. I understand it's not physical in a sense of in big connecting hits, but in the end it's a physical style of football. You put a lot of pressure on people, so you'd think. Well, how long's he been in England now? 5-6 years.
Yeah, you'd think he'd
have adapted to it by now, and it's not like Liverpool have got a load of soft players. They've got a few lads who. They've got a few lads who can handle themselves. You know what I mean? So, I think he's trying to get in ahead. I think honestly, we need to rough him up. That's how you've got to win. I'm not saying get stupid red cards like the Richarlison one on Thiago last time, but or I'm not saying for Pickford to kill Van Dijk again, because I know it'd be funny, but I can't listen to that for over a year, 400 days, and they're still going on about it. But
I
it's
saw one of the media say it was his return to the derby since then, and I was like, oh, let it go,
yeah,
let it go.
like I understand it is Van Dijk's coming back to the derby, but it's not like Van Dijk's. He didn't have his leg amputated and he's playing with a robot leg. He got injured. Every footballer gets injured. You'll
I know that.
like
It's package of the game. If you don't want to run the risk, don't play.
don't play for Liverpool or Everton if you don't want to get roughed up in the Merseyside derby. It goes both ways. To be honest, if an Everton player said the same thing, we'd all be on that Everton player.
Yeah, I must admit, I think you're right. I think it was like the other way around. It was like Richarlison, going, oh, it's too physical. We'd be like, well, that's the whole point of it. But I do think that's probably our best way of winning. Just rough them up, disrupt the rhythm. Don't let them get into the this sort of style we've seen now, where they'll get two and then they'll just keep shooting at you for fun. Don't let them get into that rhythm where the ball's coming back every 2 minutes and we're just being absolutely pressured.
I think one thing we have to do is we need to attack the side Trent Alexander-Arnold's on. And that's for the sole purpose of keeping him back as much as physically possible. Because in the end,
Yeah.
Demarai Gray can handle himself. Demarai Gray could have a field day against Alexander-Arnold. He could, and that's not. I don't think
defensively, he's not
exactly.
that good.
I know he's got Van Dijk next to him, but if Van Dijk then has to drag himself out of position to start stopping Demarai Gray, that then puts us in a much better position for Rondon to hopefully score. But yeah, so I think the game plan has got to be attack that side, and I think that's why he's playing Henderson instead of, because I think he's been giving Oxlade-Chamberlain a few chances recently, and him, Salah, and Alexander-Arnold have all been like rotating in a sense. So I don't think Trent can really do that, or Henderson can really do that. I don't think he can keep up with Demarai Gray. So I think it is target that side because Robertson is a capable defender, and I think they're going to do the same thing to us. I think they're going to target Seamus Coleman. To be honest, I think they are going to put everything on getting Seamus Coleman. I actually don't think Salah's going to be involved in this game as much as we think. I think he's going to get involved in the score sheet, but I think it's going to be a lot of Sadio Mane today.
Mane has a really good record against us as well. Really good. Always performs in the
Everyone
derby.
does for Liverpool. Everyone scores against us.
As you say, Mo Salah's also got a good record, coincidentally. Well, obviously, you mentioned it before, and it's not what you'd ideally feel like. But do you personally feel like this, depending on the score, will be the nail in the coffin for him? Or
yeah, because I think if we get wiped, he'll get sacked. I think if we lose 2-0, they'll let him off. Because my big thing is who's available right now, but that wants to join us. Because let's be realistic, if Lucien Favre wanted to join us, there'd been a lot more rumours about him than just one rumour, two rumours popping up 2 days before.
In the summer. I think there'd have been more press in the summer when he was available.
We don't, if we're going to make, because to be honest, if we sack him, we just give it to Dunk until the end of the season. I think you've got to just give it to Dunk for 6 months. If Dunk, you've got to, because in the end, we're at that point where you don't need a tactical genius, you need a motivator. And he's the best choice we've got for that. So in the end, because I think Dunk, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think he'd keep us up. So, and you never know, because we can't really say he's not ready for the job until he's given a chance, can we?
No, but I mean, and I know loads of people that do like Duncan Ferguson, my dad included. But I will say this: we can't complain. Sentiment FC, club jobs for boys, and then give a manager who, albeit a club legend, has no experience. Like, at least Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at United managed 2 clubs before he did United, and even then,
but at the same time, it's not hiring Dunk off the street to be the manager. He's been in and around the club plenty now, and surely he's picked up a thing from Ancelotti and Benitez. Unless he is the most oblivious man on the planet, surely he's picked some stuff up.
I don't know. I think he's a good motivator. I get that, but I think he'll tactically struggle against. I mean, so people are mentioning it now. I'd rather see him up front.
Oh yeah,
UK Genetics has said it, and Everton fan KGB said I'd rather have him up as number 9. I think that's the ideal one.
To be fair, I don't know why. I don't understand why he ain't just starting with Richarlison up front and then Anthony Gordon out wide.
I genuinely,
I thought that were locked in.
Same problem.
I thought that were locked in, but it's like this man has an obsession with Solomon Rondon, an obsession that's going to get him sacked.
That's the other. I like. Don't get me wrong. I think even if we get battered like 5-1, I think his job will be safe because I think the board, He's been, although I don't. He's a very interesting, but he's had some snips at the board saying, they can't keep switching managers. But then he was like, you can't blame the board because they're spending money, and I'm like, that's a contradiction because
But
it is down to the
of course, you
board.
can blame the board if you're spending it on shite. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
what I mean. I was like, that's a contradiction.
Because it's the thing is, it's like it's the whole Marcel Brand stuff as well. How do we know if he's doing a good job if he can't actually do his job? Do you know what I mean? It's like we don't know how the club is run. I just think if we get smashed, it's reset time. It is time for Farhad Moshiri or Marcel Brands actually to make a video, just like Aston Villa did. The guy from Aston Villa, whatever his name is, who does it, the old Liverpool owner, I think. Pretty sure.
I know the guy you're on about. He did it when this whole Grealish, like this is what we're going to do with the money and that.
Yeah. I don't want to know everything about the club. I want to know what you're going to do. Are you going to give Marcel Brands full reins as a director? If not, sack him and replace him. If you want a director, sack him. I don't know if we could get Campos in, who used to do Lille and stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
He's got a fantastic scouting network. If we want to bring in someone like the one I can think of, for example, is Norwich's director of football is quite good at spotting talent, and Norwich getting nuts. Yeah, I think that's his name.
Yeah, he's good.
But it's just, if you want someone who knows England, if you want a director of football and Brands is doing a crap job, replace him. Because I saw something that said one of them will get sacked if we get annihilated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if these are these in the know Twitter accounts that
I don't know.
About as in the know as me and you, but
yeah,
some of them make it put a fake thing up and then start ranting awful stuff.
No, I think it was a news site. I think so. I couldn't tell you. I'd take ages of Twitter scrolling, but it probably wasn't in the know. But I do think if we get smashed, we have to reset now while we've got a chance. Because I know this happens. It happens every 2 years, doesn't it? But I mean, reset as in we're factory resetting the club. We're starting from scratch.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think like we've been saying, the rot is a lot deeper than the man in the dugout. And if you're gonna do that, I think this would be the final. Bearing in mind, Farhad Moshiri's appointed him despite fan backlash, despite fan upset. If he was to sack him now, it'd be on him that it's failed. It's all on Farhad Moshiri, how badly this goes. And then he'd have to look at it and go, I need to leave it alone and trust the director of football.
Bring in a football man next to him. That's it. That's it. That's all he has to do. It's what Abramovich did. Marina something. Their director, who gives him advice and stuff. That's all her job is. She gives him advice.
And United are now with Ragnick after this season going to keep him on as a footballing
what we
brain.
were supposed to do a few years ago, but instead we signed, who was it? 2017. Who was it? Was that Allardyce?
Yeah, followed by Silva.
Instead we brought in Marco Silva, Ronald Koeman. It was one of them two. It was either the summer of 2017 or the summer of... I don't know which... I think it might be... Yeah, Marco Silva sounds right.
Yeah.
But it's just...
Flavour of the month type thing, wasn't it? Yeah. He did well at Watford, did all right at Hull.
We brought the fella in, and then as soon as he had the bad run, we were just like, yeah, never mind. Let's not give the poor fella a chance. It was just, yep, see you later, mate, bye. Like, I don't think he was good enough to manage Everton, but it's just... If you're going to do something now, we've got to stick to it. I think we've got to stick with Rafa unless we get annihilated. I do, because in the end, I think Rafa wants to get rid of the deadwood in the club. I think Rafa knows the deadwood and wants to get rid of it. And that's step one of where we need to be, is getting rid of it. Because we can't, because even in next summer, because I don't know if that next summer's the summer FFP does its reset. It's like a 3-year cycle resets. And I feel like it's next summer's the reset. So we're basically starting from scratch again, and we can spend as much as we want.
I can't wait for us to burn the money up the wall again.
That's what we're going to do, though, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think even if we get hammered, we're going to keep him. I think we're going to keep him for Arsenal, despite it. And I think Palace, it comes down to that, because we should... I know they're having a bit of a nice spell under Vieira. We should be beating Crystal Palace, at least getting points from them anyway.
We're going to get walloped by Palace, mate.
And if we get beat then, I think they're going to look at it and go, no. And then for the Chelsea game, I think Duncan Ferguson will probably be in charge for that for the second time in his career.
Yeah, but I think there's a bit of a difference between, what was it? But is it between Frank Lampard and...
Yeah. And even then, And I don't get me wrong, I'm not thinking it's going to have the same effect as the first time by any
Unless
means.
Thomas Tuchel just feels bad for us and goes, "There you go, lads, have the win."
Well, there was rumours that at one point he really wanted the Everton job, and
He did. Listen, he can have it now if he wants.
for
You know
whatever
what I
reason,
mean?
we just didn't give it him.
Yeah.
If I could have a list of all the players and managers that apparently were linked with us or were mentioned and what we actually went with, it'd be unreal. Players
but
as well.
the worst part about the Tuchel one is he came out and confirmed it. That's the
Yeah,
worst part. And then we were acting all high and mighty. We're too good for Thomas Tuchel. Didn't he go to PSG a few months later?
yeah, he did. Yeah, it's madness. What could have been, eh? But I think we will purely because I don't see Mashiri admitting his losses. I don't see him admitting he's wrong.
I don't know. I think he is the sort of guy who would do that. I do think because I think surely he's failed this many times now that he's got to realise mistake and have someone next to him. Listen, I don't have the disliking for Mashiri that a lot of other people have. He's just naive. I don't think he's a bad owner. I just think he's naive and he thinks his knowledge on football is a lot more than it is.
I don't dislike him because he's bringing us a new stadium. Well, him and his friends. I will say this though, with him, he's not a football brain. He might be a footballing fan, but he's not a footballing specialist.
No.
And therefore, when you're an owner and you're making decisions thinking you are, it's sort of borderlines looking like a vanity project type style.
I think it is.
You know what I mean?
I think it is. It's his play pet, isn't it? Like he wants us to succeed, but we are his play pet. Abramovich at Chelsea, same with us. We are a toy for this man to have fun. And people might complain this is our club, he can't do it. He owns the club. You know what I mean? And it's an unfortunate situation, and it's something we've got to deal with. But I do think Mashiri wants the club to do well. It is why he hired the man with the best CV. So it's just, and he's also a manager that brings stability, isn't it? I think they hired Rafa knowing they couldn't spend money. And I think we didn't understand at the time. Now it's a lot more clearer who was a really good manager with no finances. Rafa Benitez at Newcastle. I do think if we can even draw, this could be the turnaround we need. Because I'm guessing Dom will be back at Arsenal, at least on the bench.
I hope so.
Because he's in light training now. He's in light training. So he might either be on the bench for Arsenal or starting Palace. I think he will be back for Palace. I think, unless he gets another miraculous injury. But with Dom in, if he can recapture the form he left with, we'll be fine. Because our big problem has been scoring goals. I think Rafa's working on the set piece stuff. I think he is. And now it's just about scoring goals. And obviously, I think we can get the ball into the position, but then we can't finish it. That seems to be the problem.
Yeah, I mean, that and that. I don't get me wrong. I do think certain things he's going to die on in this hill. Playing Rondon consistently is one of them. And some of the stuff he says in his interviews, like, they won't sack me because I know the city. They're less likely to sack me because I know the city. That means absolutely nothing.
Mate, I don't care if you can tell me where the train station is. I care if you can win the team football games. I don't care that if you can tell me the nearest Tesco's to Goodison Park. I want 3 points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's the classic. Ancelotti obviously said he liked Liverpool last year, and that really did, win a lot of not that it needed winning over, but a lot of fans were endeared by that, endeared by it. And I think he's gone, if I do the same, they might endear to me.
No, I think the difference
is the same thing.
Was Ancelotti said that he enjoyed it and actually did. Rafa saying, well, I know what everything is here, so I can. Because my thing is, right, don't start being a knobhead because you're losing games, and because that's what he's doing. And he's trying to do what he did at Newcastle, but no, mate, you know what I mean? We lost to Brentford because of Rafa. It's outright, listen, I don't think he's made as many managerial mistakes as people make out. I don't at all. But that game, we really should have brought... Listen, Rondon could have stayed on. I don't think Rondon was awful. His finishing was questionable, but he was good in build-up. So bring on another centre-forward. He didn't have to be the one who went off. Iwobi could have went off for Dobbin or for Sims. Or someone who could offer up more. And then Townsend went off for Damari Gray. There you go. I'm not trying... Listen, that might have not worked. I'm not a football manager. I don't have coaching badges. I don't know. But it would have been much better to try than to stick with a formula that wasn't working.
Yeah, mate, I agree. I think that is down to him more. We are going to leave it though just now because we are about to kick off in 2 minutes, and I know as soon
It's
as we kick off.
8:15, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Oh, ignore me. Ignore me.
Wait a
I got
minute.
the times wrong.
Wait a minute.
I got
Wait a
the
minute.
times
Let me
wrong.
tell you. Let me tell you. Yeah, it's 15:15.
Thank God for that. I had it in my head 8 o'clock. I was rushing back. We're not going anywhere. Ignore that.
Yeah, it's 15:15.
Just pointing out that Eugene McGeev has put here that the Watford Chelsea game suspended due to a heart attack, and obviously we hope that the person is okay. Wish them all the best. That's it's quite scary and quite a current trend in football at the minute.
It's a really bad
Players
trend.
and fans, isn't it?
I'm not going to give opinions on it because it's no one knows what it is, what it's because of, and I'm not going to act like a doctor and know. But all we can say is just hope the fan of either team, football doesn't matter in this situation, recovers well and can hopefully watch the team again in a few weeks' time and be fine.
Yeah. We're looking at a couple more of the comments. We'll read through a couple more of them. UK Genetics this should be an interesting one. His friend, his fellow Everton fan, wants Rooney at the helm with Dunk as his assistant.
No, I don't think I think Rooney's a good gaffer, right? Because what he's done with Derby in the situation there is really good. The QPR game, they were playing well in the QPR game and then conceded a wonder goal to Andre Gray. I don't know if anyone's seen it.
That is fantastic.
They picked up 4 points from Bournemouth and Fulham. Bournemouth, who looked, they're on a bit of a skid now, looked like they actually might go the Championship season invincible at a point. Fulham, who, beating teams like Blackburn, who are 4th, 7-0 and stuff like that. So I think Rooney, he's good. And I think he's too good for League One. I do. I think he's good enough for the Championship. I think he's proving it that he's getting results with a Derby team that is, it's a few veterans in the youth academy and then players like Tom Lawrence sprinkled in, but he's not ready for the Premier League yet. Listen, he could come in and prove me wrong, but let's just put it simply, if he gets sat, I wouldn't pick Rooney as one of my first options, and Rooney's probably one of my favourite players of all time.
I think he's more qualified for the job than Duncan Ferguson might be. If Rooney's not ready for the Premier League, Duncan Ferguson
he's more qualified than Dunk. But at the
same time, playing devil's advocate here, he's more qualified because he's got the first team experience.
Like if I just because I think while I'm saying this, I'm gonna get some. Isn't the favourite for the jobs Kasper Hjulmand, isn't it?
Yeah,
Denmark manager. Which,
yeah.
to be honest, no.
I don't know an awful lot about him, but I apart from the Euros that I watched, obviously, but I don't know if that's the type of guy we need. It seems like a bit of a punt at risk, and I don't know if we're in the position to be taking risks.
Right. Do you know what? For everyone who's rougher out before we get into the game, I'm gonna read you all the names of the top 10 next permanent managers in order of odds, just to show you that how depressing this will be if we sack Rafa. At 1, there is the guy we just mentioned, Kasper Hjulmand, really good at Denmark, but international games are a completely different game. Look at how well Roberto Martinez is doing with Belgium. And, look at Gareth Southgate, failed club manager. Look what he's doing for the country. So, it's a bit difficult. Number 2 is Nuno. To be honest, I'd take it. I wasn't against Nuno.
Someone the other day would get Nuno. I think it was Alex when I was on. I was like, you watch, we'll end up with Nuno.
I wouldn't mind. He's about getting points, isn't he? He's about winning games. And in the end, are we at the same level as Wolves as a club right now? No, we're below them. So
no, but it's depressing all round, like. But Nuno's football will be depressing as well.
Yeah, but in the end, if we're winning games, it's not depressing, is it? It's bad when you're losing, and it's thing.
No, but that Spurs squad's a lot better than our squad, and he didn't exactly set the world
like
Spurs, has he?
Spurs aren't built to play that type of football. I think we're built to play that type of football. Listen, the 3 at the back's not amazing, but we can.
I was going to say we don't have the centre backs for a 3 at the back.
I mean, we have 2. We have 2 of them.
Yeah,
in Mina and Godfrey.
Another one.
And I don't think it'd be impossible to get another one in January for cheap, to be honest with you. I really don't. So, Nuno, I think Nuno out of this list is the one I'd take. Maybe him or Favre. But Lampard's free. No, I'm not even going to give that the justice. 4's Dunk. Listen, if we're going to bring in an interim manager for the end of the season, I think I wouldn't complain. Graham Potter's 5. I can't see it unless the Brighton fans keep booing him. They're losing to West Ham right now, I think. So listen, Brighton fans, boo him. Tell him you don't want him in your club anymore. Tell him how much you hate Graham Potter, and then we'll take him.
They won't get better than him ever again. they were relegation
jinx it.
fighters
Don't
under
jinx
Chris
it.
Hughton.
Don't jinx it, because then they'll end up finishing above us with a manager that's even worse than him. So next is Favre. I'd take Favre, but I don't know if he's like Eddie Howe as a manager. He's better than Howe, but I think he has to have a summer to instill his ideas on the club. Like, Howe's doing so badly at Newcastle right now because you have to have time to adapt to Eddie Howe football. You can't just go straight from Steve Bruce to Eddie Howe. You can't just go straight from Rafa Benitez to Lucien Favre. It won't work. We'll have really poor results, and then everyone will blame him when in reality he needs time to get his system sorted. Next is Daniel Farke. No. Listen, if we get relegated, then yeah. I'll take him if we get relegated. But no, he's not a good Premier League manager. He's proven it. Scott Parker. No. You know what I mean? He's got a relegation to his CV. He plays decent football, but no. Rooney, I think. And then I think the last one is Valverde, who used to manage Barca, but it's same as Nuno, boring football, but it'll get us results. So I just want the highest finish possible. If that means we have to play crap football for the rest of the season to claw it, I'll take it. Because you know what? If we can squeak 7th from this, which I don't think is impossible, but I also don't think it's with Rafa as the manager. Because I watched a video. It's from James Lawrence Allcott. If you just want to watch it, it's called "My Problem with Rafa Benitez." He said he's a manager that Everton fans will never really be able to give their heart to, no matter what. We what? He could win the league with us, and I still think we wouldn't. Because in the end, yeah, most of us don't care that he was a Red. But winning the Premier League with Everton would still be his second best career achievement. You know?
Yeah. I mean, problem is as well, out of all the people you read out there, I don't think till we sacked him and like rumours came from out the boardroom, I don't think you could second guess what they're going to do at the top. I don't think they could second guess what they're going to do.
I could scroll down to the bottom, right? The worst odds at Roy Keane. Would Marcelo Bielsa Roy Keane and Marcelo Bielsa are next to each other. And I also wouldn't want Bielsa because he collapses and doesn't last long at clubs. He will. We could not play Bielsa ball. We could not. We are quite high in the pressing. We are quite high in the pressing stats. Like, we're really high. We're in the top 4 for pressing. But it's timed presses. It's based off triggers and things like that. Not how Leeds do it, where it's just attack, beat them. You know what I mean? Do you really think Alex Iwobi could do that for 90 minutes? No chance. So, you know what I mean? So
could you imagine Seamus Coleman pressing for like 90 minutes?
I do think if we, for example, let's say there's managers like Bielsa, Favre, Mourinho's on there. Bielsa, Favre, Potter, even Hjumland. Why would Hjumland lead Denmark when they've just qualified to a World Cup as arguably the best team in the qualifiers, only losing one game, and that was the last game?
Exactly, that's the other thing. I'm just going to quickly put this in now. Mourinho gets points as well. Football would be better.
If Everton fans complain about Jose, if we complain about Jose Mourinho, you lot need to give your head a wobble.
He's a bit mad, but he'd probably win something with us.
He can't stand Liverpool.
Yeah, I like Jose, to be fair.
I think his Roma form's turning around now. I think they're starting to turn it around now. So we'd have to pay Roma so much money. That'd be an end of the season thing too. No, it'll be what'll happen? It'll be done as an interim till the end of the season. Then we'll eye up who's been sacked, who's willing to join, and then we'd make a decision. I think that'd be the smart decision, to be honest with you.
That's the other thing. Who'd want to join us? I don't think we're as attractive as a job offer as people would make out. Because
maybe in the summer, if FFP resets, we become a desirable location again because we've got money again.
Only then, though. It's only if you get to pick. If you've got Fad Najeri going, I'm going to buy Iwobi because I like him, or against Tosin because I watched him against Monaco, then.
Yeah, but I think it's because we don't have the right man in. We don't. It's what I like about Rafa is if Mashiri says I'm signing in, Rafa will turn around and go, "No, you're not. He won't play for me. You waste your money. Go on."
Yeah, I mean, I can't get this out of my head enough. As much as the money's brilliant and the stadium's brilliant, I do sort of wish the fella would just sit out.
He just needs someone next to him who's got a clue. That's it.
That's what Branson's meant to be, though.
He doesn't have ill intent for Everton. He doesn't want us to go down. He's not a bad owner. He's just...
he's not Vincent Tan. Yeah, he's not the Vincent Tans of the world.
No, he just doesn't know much about football. He just needs someone next to him who knows, who can explain to him. And I think he'd be good.
That's what Brands is meant to be anyway.
Because to be fair, Chelsea in the first few years just bought everyone. Chelsea just bought everyone. Man
City
City
did
for the
same.
first few years just bought, and eventually they got a strategy and that started working. Chelsea was by bringing the right man in. Man City's was
Newcastle will
very.
do the same. Newcastle will spend silly money before even getting it right, I think.
Newcastle will be in the same position as us 3 years time.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
they'll
going
look,
to
or
spend
4 years
silly
time,
money.
where they're looking and going, wait, they'll have spent more than us too. They'll 800 million and we're 15th in the league.
If we sack Rafa as well, he'll be their manager within a year.
I couldn't care less.
No, I'm just saying, no, they'd pay
He'd
Eddie
be their
out.
manager after a week. He'd be their manager after a week.
No, they're not fussed. The money's not an option to them. They'll just boot whoever they like out the chair.
Yeah, I only think they hired Eddie Howe because he played the most attractive football. I'm sorry, but this squad with an interim manager, no matter who it is, will go down. The squad is so toxic and paper thin. Yeah, but I think the problem is Sam, who finds Everton an attractive thing. I think with Duncan, is the squad going to be toxic towards him? Is he going to give young players a chance? Yeah, we won't go down. I don't think we will. I think
I think we've got too much quality.
Newcastle, Norwich, Burnley are worse than us, but Burnley have got more spirit than us. Brentford have shown they can go on. No, but the thing is, Brentford have shown now they can go on huge skids, and we battered them.
But they won't go down because they still dragged out.
No, but what I mean is they're worse than us. Watford are worse than us. Like Watford are a team where they can pick up results, but Watford are worse than us. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we might finish 15th under Dunk, but I'd rather finish 15th under Dunk with some idea of the future than 13th under Rafa with no idea. 13th under a toxic Rafa. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Rafa, I don't want a toxic relationship between us and the manager, like at the end of Martinez all over again. But this will be worse because he's a red.
This is why fans are annoyed though. I think I came on here and said he'll be gone by Christmas. This was when we first appointed him. I was like, he'll be gone by Christmas.
I think we knew, didn't we?
Obvious.
I think we tried to have optimism, but we just knew. We knew what was going to happen.
Which is what's annoyed fans. And I saw one person say it. He was like, I think he might have called in TalkSport actually, which is where I seen it. But he was like, this was from the start. He was always 4 or 5 bad results away from people.
Scapegoat.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if he's
a month without a win up, and then and it's turning toxic.
It sounds mental, but you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if the board knew they weren't going to spend money. They knew the team was crap. They knew they couldn't get anything out of the team, and brought Rafa in to take the heat off of them. But I think people are seeing. I think people are seeing through that and starting to realize, no, we know you're the problem. This isn't Rafa. What's the poor guy supposed to do? All these best players have got injured.
Yeah,
he's been left with crap and with no money to spend. Like everyone was giving him an excuse at Newcastle, and now those fans are saying they want him gone.
If he can weather this storm, the games do get easier come January. I will say that for him. The games do get easier.
If we can scrape a draw or a win out of 2 or 3 of these games, beat Palace, draw with Arsenal, maybe lose to Chelsea. I do not care if we lose to Chelsea. It's Chelsea. They're the best team in the world.
Yeah, good. We
can then beat Newcastle and Burnley, hopefully. And then that's it. Yeah. All of a sudden, it's January. And maybe we can start. Because I think someone like Gomez will leave in January. And even maybe out on loan, and then we pay 40% of his wages. Another team pays 60 or something like that. That at least gets some off the books. And it's a slow start into getting rid of the deadwood. Because as I've said before, I used to like Andre Gomez. But the poor fella's just not got it in him anymore. But we kick off in 3 minutes now. So it's probably best to...
Yeah. I was just about to say, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I'm just about to say we're going to let it go there, though, because we do kick off in 3 minutes. And as Philip Mason's just said, the team have come out. Don't forget to like the video for everyone commenting, watching, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Cal, thank you for coming on. I will probably speak to you again in the near future. And
I'll probably send you a Twitter message crying after this game.
Hopefully, we are celebrating a win, or I'll take a draw.
2 in a row. 2 in a row. Come on. We're going for 2 in a row.
But see you all in a bit.